Hey, I'm Lou,
I'm Chris.
and this is our first YouTube video, so please forgive us if it's a little funny. But let's see. We should start by saying we're Christians, and for the last couple of weeks, maybe even like a month or so ago, we started studying the Bible on our own because we wanted to be very good Christians, and we wanted to know a little bit more about our religion, and we wanted to get closer to God. With that being said, we actually learned a lot through doing it on our own, and we thought maybe we should share that information and see if it does anything for you guys. So I guess we should start off by saying a little bit about ourselves, so you should, I guess, know who we are. So, Chris?
So, I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised. Raised in a non-Christian home, so it's totally really different. But my uncle actually was Christian, and he introduced me to a little bit of the Bible stories. And the more he did that, I wanted my own Bible. I wanted to read it for myself. But of course, as a kid, I didn't understand what I was reading. No matter if it was in a child's version, it doesn't matter. I just didn't get it. So then I grew up a little, and now I'm 12.
Now she's 12.
I mean, now in the story,
I'm 12.
I'm 12, and I had to move from Brooklyn to Queens. So, I moved in the middle of 7th grade. I then met Lou. We've been best friends ever since. So basically, she introduced me to church. Like, I went to church with her, and I really liked it, and I ended up getting baptized, and I really loved it. But as we got older, the church just, I don't know, it was falling apart a little. It didn't feel like home anymore, so it kind of sucked. So we were sad about it, but we stopped going because who wants to go to a place that doesn't feel like home? I know you don't, right? So yeah. So after that, I had a baby when I was 21. Her name is Phoenix, and she's 4. And my life completely changed after that. And I'm sure a lot of moms can relate to that. It was crazy. I mean, I couldn't need God any more than I did when I was, when I first had my kid. I was totally didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, so I had Phoenix, and then a lot of drama started in my life. I guess I was at a really vulnerable state. I was just accepting everything, which was really bad. So yeah, I got tired of the drama, and I don't know, I called my best friend, because who don't call their best friend when they're going through stuff? And I was like, Lou, I can't take this no more. I need to go away. My family's driving me crazy. My ex-boyfriend's driving me crazy. I had to leave him. I gotta go. I gotta go. And I prayed. I prayed hard. I've been praying hard my whole life. I just needed. I'm a happy person. I have a happy spirit, and when people is not nurturing it, it was depressing me. So she told me, buy a ticket, come to Oregon. So I sat on it not even a day. I sat on it. I bought the ticket the same day. My mother was like, "Are you bugging?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm so tired of everything. I can't take it." So, um, yeah, I came to Oregon, and then, oh man, it just started from there. So basically, I met up with Lou. She wasn't feeling good. She just didn't have a happy spirit. So I was kind of happy I came because I feel like she really needed me, and I really needed her. So anyway, uh, so what happened after that? So anyway, I already was getting close to God, and that's what helped me move on with my life as far as leaving my ex, and coming to Oregon, and then as I lived here, I got closer to God, and then I helped Lou out. But now I'll give it to her so she could tell you her side of the story.
um, so unlike Chris, I actually was born in the church. So I went to church my whole life. My mom took me to church ever since I was little. But like many of you, I wasn't really I didn't really know why I was going to church. You know, it wasn't like I had studied this religion and knew about it, you know, on my own and then decided to convert. It was something that I did because this was what mom did every Sunday, you know, so I went, you know, every Sunday and did what I was supposed to do. And I loved being Christian growing up. I was really happy to be a Christian and proud to say that I was Christian without even knowing exactly why I was happy to be a Christian. Um, and I think that when I was younger, I was I think I was more in love with my Christian family and friends rather than the actual religion. So it was very common for me to invite my non-Christian friends to church, and a lot of them would come, and and that kind of went on for a little while until I got a little older, and of course you start to find your, you know, in your individuality, and you know I started coloring my hair, and you know like I got gauges, and you know like pierced my face and the chest, and all these different things, and that's when my relationship with people in the church really changed because a lot of nasty things were said about me, things that I took personally because I felt like these people knew me for such a long time that I would just never expect them to treat me the way they did. You know, I understand that physically a lot of things had changed, but I was still the same person, and so it took a toll on me that you know that this is the way that they responded to these different changes. And to me, they were not very serious changes. I mean, I don't think they were serious enough that the relationship would change, but it did. So when all that happened, of course, it pulled me away from, you know, the church. I didn't go as often, and then gradually, before I even realized it, I wasn't going at all. And this is kind of my early 20s, around the time that she had her baby. I was really just kind of on my own. I was out there just doing what 20-year-olds do, you know, basically just doing my own thing. And I wasn't really thinking about religion. I think I always had a relationship with God, but I just didn't really go to church. I wasn't very like religious, I guess, if that makes sense to you. Um, and yeah, and I naturally just, I guess my entire life I have been a very cynical person, and this has just been from separate issues. And so I guess that side of me became more intense. I became a little bit more negative, and for all those other people who are cynical as well, it's not necessarily negativity. It's just, for you, it's reality. It's not like you're trying to be mean or whatever, but you just become very realistic. At least that's what it feels like for me. You know, it wasn't like I was upset about the way my life was going. It's just, for me, it was, this was realistic. This was how life goes. You know, these are people, and though you may have faith in them and you think that they're nice people, they're still just humans. And so I just stepped away from the church, and at the time it felt normal. Until uh, I also had a baby. I had my daughter, Callie, and then things started to change for me too. I ended up moving to Oregon from New York, and it was just me and my daughter and her father at the time. And I realized then just how far I had fallen from my Christianity by how alone I felt. Because when you have a good relationship with God, you never feel alone. You know, you always feel like He's there. You can always have faith that He'll carry you, and that when things get hard, you can trust, and you can have that faith that He knows what He's doing. He has a plan for you, and it gives you some ease. But I didn't have any ease. I felt alone. I felt like everything fell on my shoulders. I did not feel like I could depend on, you know, my daughter's father. Our relationship was crumbling, and at the time it was just, I need to get on my own 2 feet. And this is kind of the common trend with me. Since I was really young, I've always had a job and I've always supported everyone, and that's just what brings me comfort, you know, to be the independent person. And back then, because I had my Christianity, it didn't really bother me as much or bring enough a lot of stress, because I always had faith that God was going to provide a way. Whereas here I am, I haven't been to church in a really long time. I'm not really the most positive person, and now I feel like my faith has definitely, you know, been shaken up, because here I am on my own, and rather than to say, you know what, God's going to carry me, I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I need to be the one that makes sure the bills get paid. I need to be the one to make sure my daughter gets fed, and you know, it didn't feel like I had anyone else. I was on my own. Um, And then basically, like Chris said, we were having a conversation one day. We were texting, and she just told me things weren't working out for her. So I said, maybe you should come to Oregon and kind of get your, little escape and start new. And she took me upon my offer, and she flew over. And at the time, she had been studying a little bit more with one of her friends. And so when she came, she was a little bit more into Christianity. She had studied a little more. She was a little bit more positive than I was. And at that time, I think I was just so cold and so far removed that it was really not taking much effect on me. When she would talk, it would really just be this cold response. I really tried to not have that response, but at that point, that was my new normal. So I wasn't really interested in religion. I wasn't really interested in talk about faith or anything like that. It was really just, it seemed like things I heard before and it didn't make any sense to me anymore. But because it is Chris, I tried to keep an open mind, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do my best to get to where you are. And at first it wasn't, for the right reason, which was just to be closer to God. It was more so because I wanted, to have Chris's faith, and also for her to feel like I was on this with her so that she wouldn't fail, So we started going to church. We went to this church that we found out here, and they were honestly a godsend. They were perfect. They changed our perspective on Christianity. They showed us God's love again, and they brought us back. They definitely brought me back. And if it wasn't for them, I honestly don't think that we would be even doing these videos or even studying on our own or anything like that. So we're really grateful to them for that. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm completely changed. Obviously, I'm human and I'm still a cynic, but I do my best every day to just try to see the world in a better light than I did yesterday, and that's all that I can do. So that's kind of where we are now. Now we're studying and trying and growing and learning, and and now we are doing videos. So we do always want to emphasize that we are not preaching and we are not converting, because we don't know exactly all the answers. We are just sharing our information, and you can do with it what you will, pretty much. So with that being said, I guess another reason that we decided to do these videos, and I think that inspired us to do these videos, is we just kind of think that Christianity is just not that serious, and that some people are just a little too intense about it, and
it takes the enthusiasm out of it.
Yeah,
it's
like
just
the fun out of it.
Who has to try to live? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wake up every day and I do the best I can, and what's my best is my best. Like,
exactly.
For someone to try to push you to do more than you already feel like you're doing, it's just too much.
Too much. So yeah, at this point, we just want to kind of bring it back a little bit, and just kind of show people where Christianity should be. I think, in our personal opinion, we think that people should try to interpret what they read in a little less intense way. Maybe they've taken things a little too literal or whatever. And in the end, maybe they are right. But we only have our opinion. We want to share our opinion, and then I guess we would like to hear from you guys to see if maybe you have a different opinion on that. Yeah. So this is just our first video, and it's the first of many. And we would love to get comments, and we would love for people to give us their opinions on, what they think we should talk about, and in the future, their opinions on what we are talking about. So for now, this is just a thought from the Opinionated 2.
Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe.